All right, welcome back live to this special edition of ColbertRadio.com. We're here with Paul Thurmond, a congressional candidate for the 1st District, and Percy Hugo, the political director at ColbertRadio.com. Here I have a couple of questions I'd like to ask you, at least maybe, hopefully some of our constituents are thinking along the same way, but I think your politics are no secret, so I kind of want to get into where specifically you differ from the other candidates running from the same position, so I'll go ahead and open up with that. Why would I vote for you if I have 6 candidates who are pretty much preaching the same platform?
Percy, really, for me, it comes down to leadership and trust. And I want to talk about some of the things that I've done to show leadership in the county.
Okay.
First of all, we've done a lot of good things in the county. I think we've headed in the right direction. We have transparency now in regards to our budget. It's all online. In regards to our salaries most recently. And I'm proud of us moving in that direction. We've gotten rid of a lot of kind of local earmarks, or wasteful spending earmarks, which I'm proud of. We used to give about $330,000 of taxpayer money to charities, and we no longer do that. I don't think it's appropriate, and we moved in that direction. Cut the budget by over $3 million, raise taxes, done a lot of good things. So leadership, you look at what your record is, and I believe my record has been one of fiscal conservative philosophy. Also, I believe in leadership that is listening, and also one that is making sure that we are, forgive me, in regards to the listening. One of the reasons that I was elected the vice chairman last year is because even though it's a 6-3 Democrat majority, is because they said you listen to us, and you no meant no, and you yes meant yes. So for me, I also believe in leadership from the front, and when I knew that we would ask our employees to voluntarily furlough or to retire early, I chose to voluntarily furlough myself, and I did it for 27 days. So a lot of the challenges that we're having up in D.C. is that we've got spending that's out of control, and it really starts at the top in that regard. Honesty, integrity, ethics, that's one of the things that is really kind of my core. I was involved with honor council throughout law school. I believe in integrity and honesty. And the things that I've done on the county level is that I have recused myself when there was a conflict, and I found that I was recusing myself a pretty good amount, because when I was young I was taught you not only have to be right, but you have to appear right. And the appearance of me voting on something that there was a business relationship, even though it might have been a business relationship a year and a half ago, people could look at that and say, you know what, you should not have been doing that.
Okay.
Secondly, is that we now have a conflict list, which I think is important, and it encourages everybody else to do it. But that's really, it's about trust, and it's about integrity, and it's about leadership, and those are the intangibles that I bring to the table that I really core believe in. One of the most frustrating things about this process is I've had elected officials come up and tell me, look, I'm going to stay out of this race. And then you see that they go and endorse one of their opponents. And, the core, all I've got is my integrity when I'm talking to people. My values and my integrity. And so that has been something I've had to get used to.
Sure,
But
absolutely.
it's not how I operate.
Currently, in this political climate, there's an inherent distrust from a lot of, particularly people on our side of the aisle, of Washington, D.C.
Well,
so,
do you blame them when you got toe tappers and when you got people hiding 90,000 in the freezer, and then that you have $1.2 million shady land deals? And
right.
I mean, it's just repetitive, one thing after the other. I'm very grounded. I believe in God. I believe that I don't want any kind of excuses on my judgment day. I'm very proud of the fact that I have a family, and I believe that grounds me. And frankly, I am focused on their future, my kids' future, and I don't want to see it go out it's going. I mean, the amount of debt is just unsustainable. $12.7, $12.8 trillion right now. It continues to grow at a pace that is really going to bury our kids and our future grandkids. And for me, I want to be able to change that. And how do we do it? Well, we've got to figure out how to control spending. And the thing that we did on the local level is that we have to have a balanced budget. We do not spend more than we take in. Very simple, but it's made us responsible. It's made us...
In Washington, it's really profound more than simple. It's kind of out there in the ether for a balanced budget because it's something a lot of people run on as a platform, but we keep hearing about budget deficits and increasing spending versus increasing taxes, and now they're talking about value-added tax. Specifically, fiscal conservatism, I think when you look at that overall, you've got to kind of bring that local approach to Washington. So when you arrive in Washington on your first day, how are you going to convince these people entrenched in this beltway that this approach from, humble Charleston, South Carolina is the way to go for national politics?
Well, I think it starts by identifying some other people that have been elected and that are similarly situated.
Absolutely.
Philosophically.
Sure.
And collectively, you work together to move a fiscal conservative agenda.
To move that agenda
believe
forward.
There's a very good chance the Republicans are going to take over the House come November. I think there's going to be a groundswell of support.
I think so
And
too.
if we're really focused on job creation, really focused on being fiscally responsible, there's a lot of things that we can do. You don't pass things like the health care bill. You don't pass cap and trade. You allow the Bush tax cuts to stay in place rather than expire. All of those are, when they're passed or they expire, are all job killers. So in order to really get this economy going, you don't have that kind of policies in place. You actually cut taxes. And some will say, well, wait a second, you cut taxes, you just don't create more debt. I believe that you can literally cut taxes and increase tax revenue.
Sure, absolutely. You look at Laffer, Laffer curves and distributions like that?
I'm a fan of the Laffer curve. And it makes sense to me. If you're going to know that if you work hard, you can keep more of what you make, I would think that more people would be working.
I think people are more apt to spend their own wealth before they go out and spend somebody else's. In regular society in Washington, it's kind of the inverse, in my opinion. But a couple more quick questions. We have about 3 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and there's 2 specific questions I wanted to ask you, and I'll go ahead and the way I'm going to phrase this one, you'll have to forgive me. This is my first political interview, so I'm working on this.
Sure.
Your father, being Strom Thurmond, you when you go to Washington, if you get elected, you come in with a name. And on the other side of the aisle, and even maybe on this side of the aisle, that name may come with a reputation, right? And in the case of, I'll say, certain political pundits and certain media figures, the Thurmond name is more of a target than a foundation. So are you going to be able to deal with any criticism, and more specifically, how are you going to deal with criticism that comes from your father's record from the other side of the aisle? Because you'd be fooling yourself to say you didn't bring that with you when the other side of the aisle was looking at you through that prism.
What we're really talking about is kind of stereotyping.
Right.
And I've really dealt with that all my life.
Okay.
All I can be is who I am.
Right.
The fact that I went to public schools has given me perspective.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that I was exposed to a lot of different people at a young age, including people that are elected and people that are representative of different areas, that's given me perspective. The fact that I have worked on the local level and on the state level and even on the federal level, that's given me perspective. And frankly, having a family has given me tremendous perspective. All I can do is be honest with people and work hard and let them know that, look, I haven't taken anything for granted in my life. I believe in hard work and believe in being honest in that regard. And, if I have to overcome some stereotypes, I've done that plenty of times before.
Okay.
I am my own person.
Right.
I'm very proud of what I've accomplished, and I'm very proud of what my father accomplished. But I know when he was around me as a young child, it was never, this is going to magically appear for you.
Right.
It was, look, son, you need to be a man of character, integrity, honesty, and hard work. And if you do those things, you will be successful. Now, however you want to define success is really up to individual interpretation.
Sure.
But I believe that my work ethic and my leadership and my character and my ethics is what is going to allow me to create relationships and allow me to be successful. And it's not going to be just because of my last name. And I haven't been running on that, Percy.
Right.
I'm
not accusing you. I'm saying there's going to be that perspective. I have about 15 seconds here. There's one more question I have to ask you before I let John take over this whole thing and just go crazy. By name, specifically, who do you think your biggest opponent is going to be in Washington when you get there?
in the House, probably Pelosi. I mean, she's kind of got the bullseye on her, and she's the field general for the Democrat Party.
Sure.
She's certainly the focus by the Republicans.
I can see that. All right, this is ColbertRadio.com. We'll be back.